Welcome back to the Best Colleges series. I just got word that Howard University this year for 2024-25 was ranked as the best HBCU, and I'm not here to argue with that. My wife went to Howard, and I just don't do the HBCU best debate too well because I didn't go to an HBCU. But what I can tell you is about the best HBCUs that are in cities. I think Howard really benefits from being in Washington, D.C. Shout out to Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris. And I think that it's important to know that when we talk about cost, location, major, and career, that you think about the location. And being in a city is, in my opinion, an advantage if that's what you want. That's what your child wants. I think you should consider that. So if Howard is the best HBCU, I just want to show you some other HBCUs that are in the cities. And I'm not going to talk about Morehouse and Spelman and the AU Center, Clark Atlanta, Morris Brown. Those are popular. Howard, being in DC, I'm going to give you Texas Southern, which is in Houston, Texas, Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, Fisk in Tennessee, Nashville, as well as Tennessee State. So, very quickly, as I always do, I want to make sure that you understand the academics, the activities, the admissions requirements, and then the acceptance rate. So again, Howard, somewhat selective, 52% admit rate. $51,000 a year, not the most, not the least. The academic programs, I'm going to show you the finances. Students admitted versus students enrolled, always very important that you can see the gender balance when it comes to these schools. The students percentage of students who admitted early decision versus early action versus regular decision, always important to see. Early decision a little lower than I would think, but anyway. Standardized testing information, always good to know. The expected GPA that they're expecting, certain schools don't provide that. Howard does. What they consider in the admissions requirement, very important. Graduation and retention rates. I always want to show that so that you can see how quickly students are graduating. Financial aid, undergraduates receiving aid. Always, 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 when you're researching schools, go to the net price calculator. You can always find that on the website. And I think that's very, very important. And then there are deadlines for admission and financial aid. And there are different methodologies for that. So again, cost, location, major, career. What's the campus life all about? Do they have housing? Yes. Is it required for freshmen? It is. After that, not necessarily. They talk about their security, their different services, legal, fraternity and sorority. Shout out to 1911, the first fraternity founded on an HBCU campus. If you don't know, now you do. Basketball, sports, again, all Division I sports. Again, this is all where I'm pulling my data from. But I also want to show you the academic programs. Always important to me that I show you what type of majors are offered at what level. Business school is excellent. School of Communications is excellent. College of Arts and Science is excellent. The Chad Bozeman School of Performing Arts. So the Howard University really, really does a great thing. And then, as you always know, I always take families through the Fisk guide because, again, I think we're the Mr. Fisk, maybe one day I'll usurp him, is known as an authority on what schools students have liked about it with parents. And I love the fact that Taraji P. Henson, Toni Morrison, and obviously the late Chadwick Boseman are notable alums. Okay, so now let's go to Texas Southern. Texas Southern down in Houston. Love it. A little less expensive. Smaller school as well. All right. What are their admissions rates? So they have regular decisions. They admit 63% of their applicants. Students enroll more women than men. The SAT, ACT, and GPA expectations that they're looking for, I think that's very important. Some of these schools always check to see if the schools are still requiring standardized testing. Some change every now and then. The admissions considerations, graduation rates, interesting. So within 4 years, it's not where we want it to be. Okay, we want it to be much higher. But again, these are students who are oftentimes, financial aid, what goes on in their life that may prevent them from graduating in 4 years. I think the financial aid information is very, very interesting. 97% of the students are borrowing. Um, the out of state students versus the in state students. I always think this is interesting. Let's look at their programs, academic programs. We can expand all. Look at the engineering program. Obviously, they're in Houston, so they have NASA as a great resource should they want to do things that are, NASA space related. I think that's very important. And essays, do they require any additional essays? Leadership scholarship essay. They have business scholarship essays. So, yes, it is very, very important that we always consider a variety of factors when considering different schools. This is, again, I'm sorry to go too fast. I always look at the different research tools that I have at my disposal. This is my custom college plan account, and I look at different how different sources also kind of critique um, different schools, okay, and what they're saying. So this is Rice, which is the closest school, probably PWI, predominantly white institution near Texas Southern. These are some of the rankings. Sorry for all the ads, but again, so this is again, it is not a very selective school, but it is a school that I think can be a tremendous resource for students who need it. And other resource I like to look at, excuse me, is College Factual. Did I just look at that? No, Scorecard, excuse me. Scorecard oftentimes gives students information on how they're, and yes, the money that they usually earn after their 4 years of study, what some of the most popular majors were, and so on and so forth. So, typical earnings, I always like to show what that can mean because, again, we do want a return on investment as we are going through this college process. All right, so that's TSU, Texas Southern. TSU, yes, but there's also Tennessee State. I don't never want to get those two confused because Tennessee State is the alma mater of Oprah Winfrey. Yay! Very, very high admission acceptance rate, which is awesome because, again, it shows that there's a welcoming environment, that they really want students to have an opportunity to get an education. And again, awesome institution. I've been to Nashville several times. They are expecting a higher GPA, 3.5. Here are the things that are not considered. Interesting. They don't need an essay. They don't need an alumni relation. Graduation rates. Let's look at the programs, the academic programs that they have here. If there's anything that I'm not showing, please write in the comments. Happy to do that with you. But I always want to show parents, particularly, the academic offerings. And you can always go to the school website. This is a tool that I use, but I'll always show you that you can always go to the school's website and learn more about them and what their academic offerings may be. And, if there's accounting, aeronautical, industrial technology, agricultural sciences, again, great resources on websites. I'm actually going to do a webinar that actually shows you exactly how to look up a school online. Okay, let's go back to, excuse me. I'm also going to stay in Fisk before I go to Charlotte. Again, Fisk University, also in Nashville. We're still looking at the best HBCUs in cities. Smaller institution, how many students apply? 81% of their students get admitted. What's considered? Let's look at the graduation rates, much better than some of the other schools we just looked at. The percentage of students receiving aid, I think, is always important for you to look at. Percentage of students borrowing, again, very different. So again, Fisk is in a different financial situations than some of the schools that we just looked at. And if we look at their academic programs, forgive me if I go in too fast. I try to do these in less than 10 minutes, but again, I think I'm going to go over today. But that's okay because you're learning. As an English major, I'm glad to see that Fisk has this. And if I look at their research, again, where is it ranked in U.S. News and World Report? If that's important to you, you want it to be known that you can get this information from U.S. News and World Report. Again, I have my differences with U.S. News and World Report, but I'm not here to talk about those today. And lastly, we're going to go to Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, 48% admit rate. Academics, the programs, or actually did a panel. I was on a speaking panel with the president from Johnson C. Smith a few months ago. I was very excited about that. She really has the school going in the right direction. And again, awesome school in Charlotte. You go to the school website, the net price calculator. Remember, I told you, oops, sorry, Johnson C. Smith doesn't make theirs. Not mine, it's not on me. But you can learn a lot about the school right here. Go here, glow anywhere. I like that. All right. So, very, very important that we continue to be aware of great HBCUs in cities. And whether it's Washington, D.C., for Howard, whether it's Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, Texas Southern in Houston, Fisk in Nashville, Tennessee State in Nashville. I just want to make sure that you know that different HBCUs, are parts of different cities. There's some in Richmond. There's other cities that I haven't mentioned, but I wanted to show you ones that are just on my mind, given that Howard was just selected as the #1 HBCU. And I said, well, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I just want to show you other HBCUs in major metropolitan areas. You can always check us out in this Best Colleges series. I'm Shereem Herndon-Brown, CEO of Strategic Admissions Advice, and I hope that you found this helpful. Thank you.